We are now joined
Yeah.
by Mr. Triggy.
Hello. So I'm late.
No problems whatsoever. We have done series number 1. There was, of course, the walkover. So we are now right into the winner's match here. And down on the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our Teal Zerg player who got a bye from that walkover. It is from Team Outset, Kommatiazo.
And he is going to be joined on this map by the red Protoss spawning cross positions up in the top left-hand corner. He is currently teamless, and his name is Shardz.
Damn right. This map, of course, lovely. Well, not as unique anymore, but it was at the time with the in-base expansion here.
Yeah.
So it can be easy for, easy for our Protoss to kind of wall off safely, still take it.
Super easy to defend. Kind of weirdly, it's easier and more difficult. It's much easier in the earlier game, but slightly later on, your photon overcharge won't actually reach to that ramp.
Right.
So
exactly.
There are timings you can exploit on Nimbus to like make use of that, but it looks like Kommatiazo is actually just going to go straight up, really fast 3-hatch build, getting his pool up, nice, safe, early timing, as we see there in the main base. So yeah, both players looking to transition straight on into full-on macro. Yeah, Shard's even going for a gateway expand, so he's going to go pretty much as economic as it gets and go straight into mid game.
Yep, definitely the case here. They are, of course, in cross spawn, so they've got a bit of room to do this. Lings will come up and take a poke at the front. See that it is adequately and properly walled off. And yeah, I'm not sure that we'll get much except drones out of Kommatiazo for a little while.
No, most likely.
Yeah, not even taking gas yet, so it's got to feel relatively safe. Of course, his Overlord up on the top knows that the expansion has been taken up there. And we've got a Stargate coming down for Shardz.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good choice for macro play. Stargate is much more difficult to all in off than either Twilight or Robo for Protoss. Stargate's a really good sort of way to harass your opponent, keep him at home a little bit with his forces, or even defend with a couple of Void Rays. As you macro up, take a third base, you can push out. And Void Rays are quite slow, so it's difficult to straight up win a game with them, and they're not great against Queens. So they're the only... I just noticed Shardz actually has 2 holes in his wall off. So Kommatiazo could have run a couple of lings around and been annoying or got a scout off. But
yeah, that is a bit oddly made. But yeah, whatever. But it works. There are only 2 links.
Yeah. The Stargate hints towards third base and some more and more macro coming out of Shardz. And Phoenixes or Oracles harass. I prefer Phoenixes, but Oracles have the potential to do horrendous damage. I don't know.
Yeah, they're Oracles a little more coin tossy.
Yeah.
And they're not as sustained, whereas the Phoenixes just come back and back over and over.
Yeah.
Phoenixes eventually get shut down. Yeah.
Phoenixes are much more like guaranteed damage. You're almost certain to kill a couple overlords. Like there's 2 overlords out on the map for Kommatiazo. 2 that just could not get back to the base in time if a couple of oracles came across them. And the oracles can pick off queens and just a probe here or there. Whereas the Phoenixes can pick that off. Whereas oracles come in and laser down a couple of probes and then they don't do anything for the rest of the game pretty much because spore crawlers come up.
Oracle will make its way across, and odds are he's going to go straight for the natural there and see what he can get done. The Phoenix hallucination coming in, getting a sense of what's going on. He'll at least see that there's no spore crawlers there. A Oracle will win a one-on-one fight with a single queen, but it's kind of afterwards it's really tired, mostly. So coming in here now, he's actually stopping right on the edge. Turning himself on, diverting though, as there are 2 queens down. But you know what? He's going to go right to the main where the queen left. Yeah, and there's no creep between the 2. So good little window recognition there.
He gets out.
He's brave enough. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite.
Still alive.
Yeah, stays alive. Just. And 4 kills in the Oracle really isn't what Shardz wanted. I think you need at least. I think you need about 6 or so. If you're doing like a proxy Stargate where you're putting the proxy pylon and the Stargate into the Oracle though. Whereas what Shardz has done is delay his Void Ray production for a little bit and build an Oracle. So I feel like 4 kills is okay. Maybe like 5 would be the break-even point, but 4 kills is fine. Shardz is going to continue building Void Rays and go into a sort of a Void Ray based composition, possibly Void Ray. Void Ray Colossus, Void Ray Colossus, or maybe he'll go for a push out with Void Ray Immortal, and we see that moving out here. He could be taking a third, or he could actually just go straight across the map. I feel like this will be for third base though, because given that he's got no probe out on the map to building proxy pylons or anything.
Yeah, we do have roaches streaming across the map here. There is an Immortal out with the Void Ray out, I think is already enough to hold this. Second Void Ray comes, second Immortal comes, and this is definitely plenty to just hold this back. So he could expand off this. He could go forward and attack this. So we will see what he comes up with. I'm not sure what Kommatiazo wants to get done with the small strike force. Maybe just pressure, get some harassment with it, see what the timing at least is, and he can always kind of go home here. We'll come on in. Put some fire on this.
The big disadvantage of Shard's force is...
Oh, he cancelled
into lifting mobile. Oh, wow. Kommatiazo actually couldn't quite hit him. The force fielders are going to trap him in. A lot of roaches are going to go down there. And actually, he already got the cancel on the base, and that much is good. Throwing away a couple of roaches as well due to slight mispathing there, but he did get the counter on the base, and I don't feel like Shardz is going to be looking to make any aggressive moves for a little while. He's actually got 2 oracles out, so he's going to be one-shotting probes and can kill queens really, really quickly. But fighting in range of that Spore is going to hurt him a lot here. He does manage to pick up a queen, though.
Get the queen down here. Still in Spore range. 1 falls, unfortunately. Yeah, I was a little surprised that he made a second one. Into that, knowing that it was reasonably well defended.
Placing it, yes.
Yeah.
And now actually transitioning into double Colossus production. So Shardz is going to go pretty heavy into the Robotech here. It looks like he could well go Void Ray Colossus, but all the oracles he's making, he's made 3 oracles now, or will have made 3 oracles, are going to really cut into his Void Ray production time. That's... I mean, I don't know exactly the build times, but that sounds like about 2 Void Rays to me worth of cycle time on his Stargate.
That sounds about right to me too. Yeah, I think that's on point. And he's kind of got a time here. He killed so many of those roaches in that little attack. He may just lose. Okay, he does turn the Oracle. Good. But yeah, he's got what he needs to already crush what Kommatiazo has. He's got... the Colossus coming out. There are 2 out now. One of them not rallied down with the army, but it is alive. There it comes. The Void Ray for the roaches, the Immortals for the roaches. Basically, what his opponent has will just evaporate in the face of Shardz's force.
Definitely. He's got 3 of the big
there's the nice
Protoss units. In a sort of Protoss mid-game army, you want to have 1 or 2 you want to have a couple of power units to back up your gateway. Either Immortals will do, Void Rays will do, or Colossus will do, and he's got a mix of all of them, so it's going to be difficult for Kommatiazo to figure out exactly what the composition he needs to fight this army coming out of Shardz. And Shardz he's got a good all-round army. He can deal with just about anything comes out here. He can definitely...
He knows exactly where the army is now, too, at all times. With this revolution, if he can, that's certainly tipping him off to absolutely everything. And he's got to feel perfectly fine right now. There is an infestation pit coming out for Kommatiazo. And there's also the Spire on the way, so he knows he already knows he has to transition out of what he's got.
Yeah. The difficulty will be he's banking up gas for a multi-switch. Corruptors. Yeah, that makes sense. He needs something to deal with these Colossi. The problem will be 15 Corruptors for 3 Colossi. I mean, sure, there's a couple of Void Rays to take care of as well, but that seems like a bit of an overcommitment to Corruptors to me, and it's possible that, especially with the 3 Immortals mixed into this army, Kommatiazo could be committing too heavily to the air here. It looks like the 4th base for Kommatiazo is going to go down as well.
That will go down. What's interesting here is how few actual gateway units there are. All of this is going to die. Like Colossus are just going to fall here, and there's just no anti-air. There's nothing that is going to deal with the ground once the Colossus are dead, and we're going to have an abrupt turn. Kommatiazo now dominating his opponent and just taking everything on out. And so that quite abruptly turned in his favor.
Yeah, he's going to clean it up pretty neatly. There's not much left for Kommatiazo on the ground, but his Remax, 15 Hydras, just about to pop. A few Roaches have already made their way out as well. So with the obviously Zerg Remax potential, the next wave is going to be difficult for Shardz to hold. He might have to let go of his 3rd base, and that'll be a big setback.
Yeah, definitely. Here he's got now even using the Corruptors to take out the Mothership Core there. Will instantly kill the Void Ray as it comes out. Basically, air units. Yeah, no, these are immortals.
They're immortals.
So you say, but because you basically cannot build Colossus back into this. You can't build Void Rays back into this. So he's stuck on gateway tech against mass Hydra.
Yeah, and Hydras are pretty good on gateway. Even better with like a couple of Roaches tank for them. GG. Kommatiazo takes that.
So I mean.
He'll have to drop down, not out, but down, down on the bottom left, appropriately, I guess. As the red Protoss is once again representing only himself, the currently teamless Shardz.
And his opponent up here on the top right-hand side of the map, representing Team Outset. It is our Teal Zerg player. He is Kommatiazo. And pool is done for him. Hatchery is underway as well. We've got Shardz going for the Forge Fast Expand this time around here. And going for the Forge first to be a little bit safer here. No Lings actually are on the way for Kommatiazo. He is just 6 are making now, but he did go for the clean first, so not really rushing directly into it.
Yeah, no. These Lings almost certainly won't be able to get any damage done to Shardz, but they'll 100% secure map control. I imagine he'll sit a couple of them, like 1 or 2 outside Shardz natural, just to make sure no probes get past, and the rest will be patrolling around, making sure there weren't any proc spawns. So actually, first thing he does is clear out his 3rd base because he wants to take that. So again, looks like we're going to open up with a pretty macro game here from both players. A little bit less so from Shardz, maybe. I think his Nexus was down a little earlier, but the Forge Fast Expand is... I mean, in terms of pure macro, pure economy, it can be a little bit stronger. But in terms of how it transitions into a mid and late game, it's generally, I feel, just a slightly weaker because you can't get your tech up as fast because you're putting your first 150 mils into a Ford rather than a gateway.
Exactly. It slows down everything that follows it.
Yeah, all the tech is rough. As a rough guide for anybody who's watching, all the tech is about a minute later off of a Forge Fast Expand than it is off a gateway. So any like 2 base 4 gate timings will hit about a minute later. Immortal All-ins will hit about a minute later if you see a Forge Fast Expand rather than gateway expand, just as a rough guide.
Yep, and we do have, knowing that obviously makes it fairly safe to go for these 3 hatchery approach. So that's the other thing to it. Not only is your stuff later, you've told the opponent that they have longer to prepare. for it, and you've kind of telegraphed that very clearly. A robotics facility is going down at the natural base here for Shardz, and in a secure location that is attempting to avoid detection from the Overlord that is going to attempt to detect it.
Yeah, and it actually might, given the angle it's coming in at. Shardz isn't actually going to see this Overlord until it's basically already within vision of the robotics facility. So Shardz is going to see it now with his probe, but it's already too late to deny it from reaching that robotics facility. So Kommatiazo is going to see the tech choice from his opponent here. He's already got good vision of the main with his Overlord. He's seen that there's a gateway building, and it's in a location where there's likely not too many around it. So he should have a rough idea of what his opponent's going to do. And I don't think we're going to see anything particularly in coming out of Shardz unless we see a bunch of gateways coming down right now, and he proves me wrong.
Yeah, he's still making... there's at least one more. He's still making sentries out of this, and obviously getting an Immortal. He could clearly be gearing up for that as a push, just the Immortal Sentry. But as you mentioned, when you do it this way, it does come out a bit later. And of course, we're missing a few gateways. There come 2 more.
Yeah.
So he will have a total of 5. Yeah. So he could launch it at about 3 Immortals and have 5 gateways full. The watchtowers are under the control of 2 Vigilant Zerglings. And as he starts to move out, he's going to bring the probe here and put a proxy pylon just slightly forward. The Lings will come on back in and see the beginnings of this effort. Just the fact that these units are not in the base will be a tip-off that they're coming.
Yeah, and the fact that Kommatiazo saw and killed a probe.
Yeah.
If you see a probe walk out on the map, it's a sign that the Prote is going to do some aggression, because he wants to be putting down pylons and he wants to be warping in from them. You don't probe scouts at 9 minutes. And yeah, Shardz is going to move out. The probe was killed, so it's going to be a little bit later for the reinforcements. Kommatiazo threw out a lot of Zerglings, so he's going to be able to force out some force fields here. At the cost of his Lings, though. But if he can get a couple of sentries...
a lot of force fields and losing a lot of the sentries as well.
I think 2 sentries went down there. 3 sentries, actually. So that was a lot of Lings lost, but these sentries now all on very low energy, and a couple of them on slightly lower health. So I think that's pretty well worth it for Kommatiazo, given that he has a lot of Lings. The limiting factor here for Kommatiazo is going to be lava. He's only got Lings to defend this. A Roach Warren is actually coming in, but no roaches on the way. So if he can run out, as soon as Shardz run out force fields, he's dead against these Lings.
That was a nice set of force fields here, trapping everything behind these Zealots. These are going to kind of file in, pulling back here now, and he is making it do with the reinforcements that he's got. The Warp Prism obviously helping out, as that will help leapfrog forward.
Yeah, and Kommatiazo looks like he's actually just going to sack this 3rd base, which I think is a really good choice. With the extra warp in, these +1 Zealots are going to absolutely tear through the Lings. +1, of course, allows Zealots to 2-hit rather than 3-hit Lings, which is a big, big difference in terms of how much faster they kill them. And Shardz is going to try and bait Kommatiazo forwards before actually killing his 3rd base. But Kommatiazo has already lost that in his mind, and I think it's an excellent, excellent choice to just let that fall. He couldn't defend it. He might be able to defend his nap. He might be able to hold off the push here, but there's a lot of sentries there, and they've got decent energy. They've got a couple force fields each.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at 13 sentries, even if they only had 1 each. That's plenty. And we'll get in a good position. Oh yeah, loss of the reinforcing, but I don't think that is going to matter at this point. So many force fields here. He's not going to get anywhere close to the backbone of this army. And Zealots just coming on in more and more and more. Doubled the army supply here for our Protoss player.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a position you want to be in as a Zerg when the Protoss has more army supply than you. Kommatiazo is definitely going to try and hold here, but GG, and Shardz managed to equalise. Whoever wins this map will advance onwards to the playoffs. The first player up for that spot is going to be the blue Protoss up in the top left-hand corner is going to be Shardz. Both players have chosen nice similar colors to make things easy for us.
Yeah, exactly. At least they look different. Down here in the bottom right-hand side of the corner, in the slightly lighter, weaker, paler blue, it is from Team Outcast. It is Kommatiazo. Both players are expanding rather quickly. However, Shardz actually building inside his own base, despite throwing the Nexus down. That can be a little bit vulnerable, but we'll see how it works out for him. The pool is already finished, and of course the Overlord knows that the Nexus is down there. So I wouldn't be shocked if he decides to make like 6 lings or something and go for it, but it actually looks like he's not.
Yeah, I mean, both players so far have shown some really, really macro tendencies, and
yeah,
just about any type of gateway expand, if you're not going for pressure, it can still be difficult to pressure it, even if you turn up with a couple lings. Nexus have a lot of health. Zealots are still pretty good on lings in low numbers, and Mothership Cores are really, really good on lings in low numbers, because, I mean, you know, lings can't kill Mothership. And I don't know, the lings will be arriving. Well, I mean, they'll be arriving about now because there's a couple of lings just about to arrive. Shardz could have a Mothership Core out now, or popping out pretty shortly, and he does have a couple of Zealot or a Zealot out. So I don't know. Kommatiazo may have been able to do some pressure here, but it would have been difficult to actually get the Nexus down, get some serious damage without swiftly going into an all-in situation. And in the first 2 games, I feel like Kommatiazo has shown he's more than comfortable playing in a macro game.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Of course, he did take the quick third hatchery there. He's still playing no gas, which he does seem to prefer. And if you're going to make a play with lings, you would probably want speed with them, which is not what he's gearing towards. So he is content to sit back, macro on up. And Kommatiazo has shown the willingness to go into a swarm host game if he has to.
All right.
And this map can be a cut it in half and go swarm host type game. So, you know, he may figure, let's just take the bases, make what we make, and then see what happens.
Yeah, King's Jong Station is a really, really great map to swarm host. If you take the base that's sort of close to your natural, as your 4th base, then park your swarm host there, and they can pressure every single 4th Protoss takes. They can pressure the one that you have to break down the rocks, they can pressure the one that's on the low ground, or they can pressure the mirrored high ground base. It just depends where you change your rally point to, and add into that maybe some Zergling run bys or some Muclis, little Overlord dance going to come together. But yeah, add in any other form of harass, and it makes it nigh on impossible for the Protoss to properly secure their 4th base, and eventually you just starve them out on 3 bases. And
yeah,
that's
exactly.
What most games come down to, really, is starving out your opponent.
Yeah, they do. They're just so efficient, and
yeah,
you're never really going for the kill with them. You just make them run out of money eventually. And that's what it's all about. We got the Phoenix coming out, although it is supply blocked here briefly.
Yeah, I like the Phoenix choice a lot more than the Oracles we saw in Game 1. Because, especially with the hallucinated Phoenix, actually. The hallucinated Phoenix Scout is going to come in. Kommatiazo might see the next the actual Phoenix has come in and think, oh, it's just a more hallucinated Phoenix. He's getting some scouting done. I'll ignore these. And then they kill like 3 probes. But it looks like he's not. Actually, I think, is he scouted with his Overlord? Oh yeah, he has actually scouted.
He saw the Stargate itself. I don't think he actually got. He wouldn't have been able to see what was building just because it was actually supply blocked. But still, it won't shock him that obviously Phoenix are what's happening.
Yeah, either way, you're going to build spores, whether it's Oracles or Phoenixes. Spores are a good choice, and yeah, he's got a spore in every mineral line, and I feel he's pretty comfortable. The Oracles will still find a way to pick off some gas drones, maybe, or drones getting transfers, or maybe a couple of creep spread queens, but I mean, that's sort of what you expect to lose for a commitment. The thing I'm a little worried about is what we're seeing right now in Kommatiazo's base, or what we were just a second ago, is there's quite a lot of overlords just sort of spread around in the middle of the base, not covered by any spore crawlers, such as those three that these are the hallucinate phoenixes attacking. And if Kommatiazo doesn't move those, the actual phoenixes could get quite a few overlord kills before they actually get taken out. With the
he's building up an interesting force. Like he's got 4 of them before he's even moving them out. He is moving them across the map now. But yeah, often you'll go out with like maybe not 1, but you'll go out with 2, as you can get at least the fringe overlords dead.
Yeah, well, quite often some players even just build 1 Phoenix before going into Void Rays to take a 3rd, and the Phoenix just runs around and serves the same sort of purpose as a Viking in TVZ, and picks up. Ooh, it's gonna be. I don't think all the Phoenixes are going to escape it. Yeah, and that's actually quite important because after losing this Phoenix, it's no longer possible for Shardz to lift a Queen and kill it with a single graviton beam. The 3 Phoenixes just don't have the damage to do it. So that single Phoenix being picked off almost immediately before they get any damage done to Queen's count or anything is quite a big loss.
Yeah, definitely. It's that kind of critical number that you need out there. Yeah. With so many Hydras out, it looks like he is transitioning into Colossus tech, getting a couple Mortals out first, as he does have the double robotics facility down. And we do also have the infestation pit already down, but it looks like it's intended to go directly into a hive, not actually for unit production in and of itself. And army moving across, even Queen's coming with this army.
Oh wow, the Queens are going to take a while to get there. When they get there, of course, they're grapes and transfusers and a bit of anti-air. But Kommatiazo has actually got a Ling Hydra composition going right now. There's no roaches in this. There's no roaches on the map, in fact. And that makes him really, really weak to the Immortals. But actually, he busts through the ramps and he's going to take out the Natural before Shardz even responds.
Yeah, I think there's just nothing here. Yeah, these are good force fields. I almost don't know why Kommatiazo even retreated at all. Because the army wasn't big enough to stop him. But he does take it out, and that's going to be a huge pickup anyway. I almost think if you just stayed on the high ground, he would just kill the army straight up. But playing it safe,
effectively.
Yeah.
But he goes into the Enduring Locust upgrade as well as Aspire. So he's got a lot of possibilities open to him. He can pull off a Mutalist switch if he feels it's appropriate to. Or he could go into... He's got all the components to go into a Swarm Host Corrupt to start game. And actually, kind of bad force field there, because all the lanes already throw themselves into the Zealots, and they just basically cut off the Zealots from the hide list. So, I don't know, not really the right move there from Shardz. And Shardz started Phoenix and Phoenix production, which is maybe going to discourage Kommatiazo from going into the Mutalists, but I don't think that's on his mind. He's thinking about Swarm Host, and actually he's going to start trading off against the sentries and looking to get rid of his hide list here to free up his supply, maybe.
Yeah, he will lose them all here, but very cost efficient, like you said, for the amount of damage that they have done taking out. And then he's going to flank here as well, so he's going to end up taking out both armies. His Hydra's actually blocking his own Lings, but will completely overrun everything.
Yeah, there's 2 Colossi out for Shardz just sitting in his main base. He's just now moving them down. And Colossi are so good on Lings, they're so good on hide lists. If he had those a little earlier, he really couldn't turn the fight. But now he's going to lose his 3rd as well, along with all the probes mining there. The hide lists have sort of run into the Colossi and, found out what happens when hide lists run into Colossi. But Shardz has just finished up his Natural Nexus again. His 3rd base has gone down, so he's now a 2-base Protoss at 15 minutes. On 39 workers, and Kommatiazo has taken his 4th base. He's almost fully saturated on it, and his gases are finishing up. He's gonna have a nice, excellent balance, 70 drones between gas and minerals. More and more Hydralists are coming in, Adrenal Glands are coming in. He doesn't need to switch in Stormhost right now. He's getting so much damage done with the Ling Hydra, the mobile composition, the high DPS. Ling run by into main is going to do a ton of damage as well. And Kommatiazo is just tearing Shardz apart right now.
Yeah, now that these, instead of going into Swarm Host, he's going to get 9 Corruptors here. That's going to put an end to the Colossus, as there's literally, until these 2 Stalkers come in, literally nothing that shoots up in this army. So even though it'll take a little bit, these Colossus will fall down to that. And yeah, there's just kind of nowhere to go once you get behind to this extent.
Yeah, it's certainly very, very difficult to find someone to go, because you don't have the econ to really do that much. Your opponent has all the space they need to tech up, get all the perfect timing composition, and every time Shardz, tries to retake a base, Kommatiazo is right there saying, no, you're not going to have this base. The third, you want third base? Do you know who I am?
We'll pull back yet again. Here come the Corruptors. Corruptors will immediately start target firing down the Colossus. Few Stalkers are out. Not going to matter. They're going to die long before these are taken out of the air. Although they're just following them instead of shooting. There they go.
Yeah. Well,
Lings come back in.
Take out the Corruptors. The Corruptors are not doing much now, but it doesn't matter. There's so many Hydless and Lings out. I think Shardz is going to clean this bit up, but when these Broodlords finish morphing, there's like 3 arcs.
And it still won't matter.
Yeah. You cancelled those ones, but...
Yeah.
I mean, okay, those ones are going to go down as well.
Yeah. Archon pretty good unit, but still doesn't matter. We've got over doubled the army supply here. The main is almost mined out. There's no third at this point. There's no defense in any direction. There's nothing resembling a wall off at this point.
Yeah, there's a ton of Lings waiting outside the natural, just ready to pounce. And when they do, they can focus down that natural and kill it before anything Shardz has can actually respond. If Kommatiazo actually finishes morphing in these broods, and he's got 3 which are going to finish right now. When he finishes those, the Archons are much, much less good on them. When they can kite away, when there's broodlings actually blocking the Archons from getting in, and Kommatiazo focuses down the natural, even gets out with a couple of his Lings, they're going to help the Broodlords, just blocking any units from getting at them. A couple of Void Rays aren't going to do much against the fairly high corrupt counter Kommatiazo. If he mixes in a few more Hydless as well, they're going to be fantastic. And the position Kommatiazo is in right now, just with his army, he can fire down that natural from the airspace, the air gap.
Yeah.
He's sort of hovering over right now, and there's not really anything Shardz can do about it. There's a couple Void Rays. He's trying to get his Void Ray count up, but Kommatiazo has enough Corruptors to deal with the Void Rays. There aren't any ground units that can threaten these Broodlords. Not in the position they're in.
Yeah, I think here this will spell the end. He's gonna have to bring the Corruptors in to actually stop the Void Rays, but he will do so now.
Yeah, he's going to get in. The Void Rays have to back off. Yeah, do manage to get out of time. They did get 2 of the Broodlords though, which does reduce the threat fairly significantly, but I mean, there's still 3 Broodlords, and there's still no answer for them. And Corruptors are actually even going to fight with the Archons under them, and they could take out both the Void Rays if they wanted to. And still, the positioning of these Broodlords, they're maybe getting a little far forwards, but there's still not that much to threaten them. They can kite back to the high ground.
I think Kommatiazo is maybe over-microing a little bit. He could have just A-moved this entire thing, and I don't think there would have been a problem with that. But now he's doing it now without the Broodlords. He's A-moving in Corruptors, which can only kill the 1 target. So, yeah, I think when he originally made the 5 Broodlords, just an A-move of what he had was sufficient.
Yeah, with this whole
but either way, it doesn't matter. He's so far ahead that he can be careful if he wants to, but yeah, it's not necessary, but it's not going to hurt him either.
Yeah, and this sort of situation with the Protoss on 1.5 bases and the Zerg on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, Kommatiazo could make mass Lings, and he basically is. And just A-move him with the game. He's so far ahead. 30 army supply to 111. I mean, tripling army supply is something that very, very rarely happens, except imminently before a GG. And I think that could well be the situation we're in right now. There we go. GG comes down, and Shardz timing it so I look incredibly knowledgeable, prescient even. And Kommatiazo is going to advance onwards to our playoffs.